Hello, friends. Welcome back to the next, the first session. So we're going to start our batch for agentic AI, generative AI, in general, the AI course. Uh, this course will comprise of multiple sections. We did a few demos. I'm not sure how many of you guys have attended it. But if you have not attended, you will be able to get the recordings for those demos. Please go through those recordings, and then if you have any questions, you could certainly ask me at a later point. What I'm going to cover today is to give you a brief about what we're going to cover in our course. If you have any questions, then I'll be able to answer them. And then briefly in the next few sessions, so today is Wednesday. The next few sessions we'll try to identify what are the different areas which are getting highlighted in the current era, the course of action for different AI implementations across enterprises, and then we will try to understand them in great detail. So this course is the AI and agentic AI. This is the AI and agentic AI course. We will also cover a little bit of AI because we need to have the background of how things have evolved over time. So that background will give us to build a strong foundation in whatever we are doing. The first part of the course, we'll cover about basics of AI, introduction to AI. So introduction to AI, you will understand about what is AI, the comparison between data science, machine learning, Gen AI, agents, and so on. So there are a lot of these things which we are going to cover, compare, understand how they have evolved over time. So today we will do one session on that, but this is a couple of sessions we'll cover on these so that we get an understanding of all these different concepts. Once we cover this, we will shortly cover about something called as Python for AI. The core language which we are going to use for building all these applications is Python. Python is a very popular language nowadays. If you have started learning, when I started data science way back in 2012, uh, in those years, we were doing using R language. R was one of the popular language, statistical language for doing a lot of these works. But over the time, the adoption of Python has increased a lot. The community adoption of Python has increased a lot, and now we are seeing that it is like the go-to language for doing all the AI related work, whether it is classical machine learning or it can be generative AI, creating agents and related agents and so on. All those things we're going to use Python. Some of us will be, at a little senior level. They might have done some coding in the back in those days, but they're not done any coding in the recent past. But they have a good understanding of, how to write codes and so on. So this kind of a refresher will help them to come back and get up to speed. Somebody who can be from a different background, non-technical background, or might be doing something like mainframe or QA or other kind of engineering works, then even for them, this section will become like a refresher. Python for AI will be covering what are the different important libraries we will be using in Python for doing all the AI related work. If you have a little bit of programming experience, so there will be a general question here that how much of experience we need to have, right? I don't know anything about Python, so how much of experience I need to have and all that stuff. So if you have done some programming in the background, right? You are aware about, say, Java or JavaScript or Node or any other programming language in the background, .NET, then you should be able to pick up Python easily. Even if you don't know, you should be able to pick up Python easily. This course, entire course, will be on Python. So eventually, as we go deeper in the course, you will be seeing more matured models. So you would be able to understand how Python is being used for building those applications. So I'm not a coder ever. That would be a little. So if you wish to become one now and not ever, then it will be a problem. But if you are in the senior level, imagine you are already in the mid range and so on, then understanding AI would help you to design systems. You might be guiding people on how to apply AI for your applications. Could be as a business analyst or could be as a product owner and so on. So I will talk about few sessions. Maybe next demo, I'm going to talk about what are the different roles we are using in for AI, like AI engineer, data scientist, product owner for AI, quality assurance for AI. Likewise, there are different set of roles which are necessary for building AI projects and how we can contribute ourselves in those in those in those areas, right? So that I can talk in the later sessions. So I will provide you some kind of precursor material for Python. So give me a couple of days. I will provide you a precursor material for Python. Uh, by this weekend, you should be getting some material. You can go through that material, some links, some practice sessions, so that you will be able to understand. And over the weekend, you have to spend at least a couple of hours on that, 2 to 3 hours, and you should be good to go if you are not familiar with Python. Once we get the section Python for AI, we will cover something called as classical machine learning. In the uh, classical machine learning, what we do is we will understand about the different practical predictive models which we have, which are already currently running in production, right? Now, there is a lot of hoo-ha about uh, generative AI agents and all that stuff, right? So if I would have, frankly, if I would have told that this course is on data science, people might not register to it, thinking that, it's an old topic, maybe it will not be used for them and so on. But in the reality, what's happening right now is the classical machine learning models, the predictive models which are used for predicting future outputs, they are already running in production. They are the ones which are generating the revenues to the companies, to the enterprises. We need to understand them as a AI engineer or a data scientist, because eventually we are going to do more predictive work, right? I'm not here to uh, talk about how to use ChatGPT, how to use those tools and so on, that you can get it for free. How to use Copilot and what are the tips and tricks of Copilot, and then tell that this is an AI course. That is not what we are going to learn. We're going to learn very practical about how enterprises are using AI, what are the newest things they are using in AI. So all those things will be covered. So as a part of that, classical machine learning is an essential piece which helps us to use some of the algorithms, implement some of the models for doing predictions. So the practical predictions, if you take any bank, the practical predictions are, next best interaction. You need to identify the loan predictions. You need to identify the risk profiles of the customers, anti-money laundering related fraud detections. All those things use classical machine learning. If you take any retail, you need to identify customer segments, you need to do product recommendations and so on. So any area, if you're taking, there are a lot of applications which are currently running in production, which are using classical machine learning. So it becomes essential for us to identify what are those algorithms, how are they used, and how do you use them for creating enterprise applications. Once we cover that, we get into the area of generative AI. And this is a very powerful and evolving area right now. Generative AI and agentic AI. So generative AI becomes like the um, prerequisite for agentic AI so that you understand how you use generative AI models. They are called as large language models, LLMs. How do you use LLMs for doing content creation, code generation, test scripts creation, acceptance criteria, entire automation of SDLC lifecycle, then automating applications using generative AI, LLMs, and so on. All those things will be covered in the generative AI space. Once we cover the generative AI space, we get into the agentic AI space. Now, agentic AI is evolving a lot. I think our course will be evolved as and when it goes also. Probably we will be covering much more things than the things which are mentioned in the curriculum. So over the years, what I was doing was I was updating the curriculum with the latest things. But now the pace at which the change is happening is much rapid. So it require me to update the curriculum every batch. So I conduct two batches. So my time is 6:15 right now. So 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, there will be one batch. 7 to 8, there's another batch, and then after that I go to office. I work full time. So what I'm seeing is there is a lot of pace at which the technology is changing. So so we will be covering these things as and when the change is happening. So imagine I want you to be on the running sprint kind of a thing. We should have our shoes on every time and then see like how the world is moving. If you keep tab on that, then all the things, whatever is happening in the real time, we will be understanding in the course. That's what I did for my past batches and the current batches so that it will help them to understand the latest and the greatest things. Agentic AI is one such space. We are trying to incorporate a lot of the newer toolings in agentic AI, especially the coding practices using Claude Code and other things are being used in this particular tooling. Then once this is done, now what we need to also learn is I call it as ML ops and LLM ops, or recently they're calling agentic ops. So there will be no fun if I create some project and which is running in my laptop, right? So it will not be good use of the technology unless until it is deployed, it is used in production. So for deploying these projects, like how do you deploy machine learning? How do you deploy generative AI applications, agentic AI applications? We need to incorporate the operation side of it, which says like how do you deploy the Docker containers? How do you use LLMs for the end-to-end deployment? and if at all we have to use Kubernetes and other things, how do you incorporate all of them for productionizing these LLM applications, agent applications, and so on? So for that, we will be covering these things, which will give us a much more practical insight on end-to-end deployment of your applications into production. And last but not least, we will cover cloud computing. Now, cloud computing is very essential because now we are using AWS, Azure, and GCP. So many of the companies are using AWS, Azure, and GCP cloud services. These are primarily ones. The other ones are also there, but these are the market leaders for doing the AI related work. And there are pre-built services provided by these cloud providers. So not everything you need to build from scratch. If you know like how those things work, you could use one of their pre-built services. For example, if you want to do knowledge discovery, if you want to create agents, if you want to spin agents on the containers, if you want to spin agents on some of the Kubernetes containers and so on, you don't have to know all those things from scratch, right? You could use one of the pre-built services by the cloud, and it will help them to spin those containers on their cloud services. So the question is, if you require Docker and Kubernetes experience, it is not. I will talk about the skill gap or skill map, which I call as a T skill, in the next one more. After this section, I'll talk about that. But we need to have a basic understanding of how do you use Docker, why do we use Docker, how do you spin containers on Kubernetes, and so on. So the basic understanding is required, and that we will cover in the course. Right? So if you ask me, the distribution of the course, so here we will be distributing 40% of the course, 30 to 40% of the course will be in the first section, and then 60% of the course will be on our agentic AI and generative AI. So it's more focused on the newer tooling so that we get the understanding. There can be a question that, Sitaram, why don't you directly just teach us agentic AI? I don't need anything of this. Uh, Directly teach agentic AI. Other people are also teaching just that. But then you will not get the full context of how things have evolved. For example, before generative AI, we will be covering in the classical machine learning, we will be talking about NLP, natural language processing. So natural language processing is an evolution which will help us to understand how generative AI applications have come. So if I don't have that connect, then I'll not be able to appreciate the newer technologies and usage of that technology. So that will come on. So NLP related things will come under classical machine learning. So this split is much necessary, and we will spend around 2 to 2.5 months. Now what is now? It is in we are in May. Um, we will cover June, July. I think by end of July, we will be completing the course. 2+ months we will spend. And please bear with me, this will be a practical course. As you're seeing, I'm writing. It's not like I won't be using presentations. Maybe one or two presentations. That's it for the entire course. The next 2.5 months, it will be like the extempore sessions where I'll be teaching like, we don't have a blackboard, but I'm trying to emulate the blackboard kind of a situation where I'm writing and then you are students sitting and listening to me. But bear with me, this will be a practical course. Every day there will be a coding application oriented session so that we understand what is happening in the real world. rather than I cover the theory of all these algorithms and so on, and then spend time and then say we are done with the course. That's not what we want to do. And what I request sincerely is, if you're already working, if you're already having some knowledge, or if you want to implement some of the AI in your projects, right? So there are some requirements coming from the companies, right? Saying that please use AI in your area. So in our course, we have done like applications of AI in companies like Oracle, ServiceNow, and other kind of companies where their requirement was to implement AI in their applications. Now, how do we implement AI in ERP systems? How do you implement AI in mainframe related systems, or all those things? So there are a lot of these practical questions coming up. So I want you guys to um, come up with those kind of things, so that we can do the course should go in that direction rather than theoretical, right? So over the years, I've built that kind of a rapport with my students, so that they come up with me in a more interactive manner, and they come up with these kind of necessary requirements, and then we'll be solving during the course, right? During the course, we'll be solving those problems. So the class is, generally it will be conducted 6 a.m. That's my time, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. It's a 1 hour duration. Yeah, 1 hour. 1 hour duration. Within this 1 hour, we will be splitting in 45 minutes plus 15 minutes kind of a thing. So overall, the class would be for 45 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes we will give it for any question answers. All right, so that's how the split is. And then how often this class happens? It will be a 5 day sessions, 5 day, and from my Monday to Friday. Monday to Friday, IST time zone. So this time zone is IST. So I'm in India. So you'll hear and know more about me. For now, this time zones will be in Indian time zone. So if you are in US time zones, if you are in Eastern time zone or Western time zone, whatever time zone, mountain time zone, there are 4 or 5 different time zones in US, right? So please adjust this accordingly. If at all I say it is, I think 7:30 EST, is am I correct? If it is 6 a.m., is that 7:30?
8:30 EST.
7:30, right?
No, it's 8:30
8:30.
for EST.
For EST, it is 8:30. For CST, it is 7:30. Okay. So that's the timing. So you need to adjust that accordingly. So based on that. And if at all we will get the daylight thing, I'm not sure whether we'll get a daylight thing in middle. Maybe it will be in October, I guess. But your batch will not have that problem, maybe. But we'll see. If at all that shift is happening, then you would have to do. But ideally, I don't think your batch will have that problem. All right. So there was one question which I missed. Let me see. Let me see. A second. There will be recordings of these sessions, so all the recordings will be provided. The recordings will be provided every day, and they will be uploaded in a drive, so that you will be getting access to the drive. So, and the recordings will be available Apologies, there was a blip in the internet. So I said life happens and it happened. So it's a funny thing. All right. So what I was saying is the course content will be recorded and you will be getting the recordings. Can I get a thumbs up that can I say are you able to hear me? Can I get a yes in the chat window?
Yes.
Hopefully, yes. All right. So what I was talking about was the all right, I'm back. Not sure why the internet is patchy. Are you guys able to see my screen now?
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. So
Hi Sitaram. So, what do you recommend to raise the question? Is it through voice or in the chat? What do you prefer?
and able to access that. And also every day the code access will be there. Code will be provided to you in the same drives so that you can practice those sessions at a later point. One question which what was the question? What are the prerequisites for this course? Any software installations? I will be talking about them in the corresponding classes, right? So what softwares have to be installed, what cloud systems you need to use, all those things I'll be talking in the next sessions. So don't worry about that. How does the class meet? Kubernetes experience. Help in installing app and doing Python. The local laptop, yes. So there's a question from Pranay. I think we will be talking about that in a couple of sessions from now. I'll be teaching you how do you install Python, how do you set up your local laptop workstation for doing the course. So all those setups would be there will be a special class for that. Many are losing jobs. Yes, that is true. In the name of AI, will learning help to retain or get new jobs? Uh, I will be very practical. So many are losing jobs. Yes, that is true. Um, why they are losing jobs? Because there are certain things which can be automated. You do not require the same level of things which were used previously, right? So times are changing, the technology is changing at a very rapid pace. So if you are like, I have 20 years of experience. So 20 years, I have seen the technology has changed quite rapidly. The era of internet, when internet started, people started using internet, websites came, those things, we were building websites. When the mobile revolution came, we were building apps. When there's a cloud revolution came, we were building cloud applications. Then the data revolution came, AI revolution came. So over the time, we have seen that there are a lot of changes happening. And there's a very, very, very important example which is given for the same situation is that in the year 1900 or 1907, they took a picture of New York City, right? So New York City, when they took a picture, it was full of horses, right? So that picture. And exactly after 10 years, they took the picture at the same spot, and there were no horses. The entire street was filled with cars around 1915 or 1913 or so, some that time. Within the duration of 10 years, everything changed. People who were driving horse carts, they're completely replaced with motor cars, right? So the entire streets of New York City were filled with motor cars. Now, people who are driving horse carts, they didn't think that, I don't know how to, there's no horses, there's no horse carts now. How would I survive or things like that? They have evolved. And over the years in history, and we have seen that people have evolved. Uh, and I have this positive hope that evolution is very essential. And I would at least congratulate you guys because you have at least taken this first step to come here, listen to me. Whether you'll do the course or not doesn't matter, but at least you have this intention to uh, get an understanding of AI. How do I use this tool for your work or getting job or upgradation, whatever it is, right? So if we have that intention itself will drive us forward and will help us to, be in a better place. So these horse drivers or horse cart drivers, they have become fitters, welders, mechanics, car mechanics. Some have become car drivers because they have learned that new skill. And the same thing is happening right now, and it will happen in the future as well. So it is very essential for us. So if you just imagine, now we don't need to write code, and I will teach you how do we do that, right? In a most efficient way. So we'll be including Claude Code in our course. We will be going through the Claude Code, enterprise Claude Code application building and so on. In that, you will understand that you don't need to write a single line of code. We will be covering something called as spec-driven development. It's not being covered in any of the courses. I can guarantee and write it that it will not be covered in many of the courses whoever is teaching it. So we will be covering something called a spec-driven development, which is a most essential piece of using enterprise grade Copilot systems or Cloud Code related systems, which will help us to design an end-to-end application without knowing a single line of code. So if you can build an application without knowing a single line of code, you also need to be very strong in understanding how to maintain it, how to sustain it, how to have proper guardrails with respect to security, vulnerability checks, and all that stuff. So those are all practical senses. I can use ChatGPT and build a small application. I can use Claude Code and build a small application. But if you want to make it enterprise grade, with cost effectiveness, then you need to follow certain steps. And in our course, we'll be covering all those things. So rest assured, you're already in the right place. Already in the right state of mind, that I would say. Right place is a wrong thing, but the right state of mind that AI will change, AI will take away the jobs, AI will reduce the workforce, but the workforce will be evolved. Just imagine if you have kids, what those kids will do. They're not going to write Java programs. I'm 100% certain they are not going to write Java programs or fixing database issues or writing SQL queries and so on. They're going to do something very, very different and different, which we can't imagine also. And we have to adopt to that. All right, any questions? I'll just give a pause here. If you have any other questions, please post it in the chat window, or else you can also unmute and ask. That's also fine.
So, hi Sitaram. So this is Pranay. So where does the neural networks come into the picture?
Yeah, neural networks are the base for generative AI. So we will be covering them at the end of machine learning. and start of generative AI. So those are the link. Neural networks are used. In fact, generative AI is nothing but transformer models, which is one of the neural networks. So in the end of machine learning, we will be covering neural networks, and the link will be to the generative AI.
Yeah, thanks. And since this is kind of a basic to mid-level AI, the course curriculum is something from the beginning to the mid-level, right? So, do you have any plans, in having the advanced courses in future? Like once after taking this course, and if you want to evolve little further, like is there
Hmm.
any courses, anything like that in future from your side?
Yeah. So what I will do is in the course itself, in our course itself, we'll be adding more advanced applications. So that's what I was recommending, that if students can come up with practical applications, more advanced related ones, once we are at the later part of the course, right, we will experiment on those things. Right. We will do practical coding, we will do practical application building and so on, and then we'll make it advanced. If you want to take a separate course, advanced course on only on a certain topic or specific topic, then after we complete this course, then we could do it. But the number of people who come only for that will be very, very less. So my time is very, very limited also. So the time I use, I need to ensure that everyone gets the best share of my time. So for that, I have to ensure that proper utilization is happening. So if you wish to have some advanced things and so on, and if the class, by the end of next 2 months, right? So in July, if you're talking, you will not be the same person who's talking right now. The person will be much more evolved. They will have a great understanding of things. And if at all the entire class is in that state, then, we can speed up. You will be going in the fifth gear, sixth gear, seventh, eighth gear also. So we can take more advanced things depending upon the class readiness, right?
Yeah, yeah, thank you. And are we going to discuss anything about RAG? Uh,
Yeah,
uh,
those are all part of generative AI and agentic AI. In fact, generative AI. All right. So there is a question that will we be given practice coding on daily cadence, weekly? It is daily. It's daily. So we'll be doing daily coding, and if you need any practice, that means apart from our daily coding, then you need some exercises like homework kind of a thing. Then I'll create some, and that probably I'll plan for weekly. All right, or as and when required. But every day we will have code exercises. All right. Any other questions? So let me talk about the T-level skills. Okay, there's one more question. Let me answer that and then go there. Certifications is also key thing nowadays. Will this course cover any certification preparation, include certification guidance? Yes. So there are no certifications on agentic AI, but there are certifications on generative AI, specifically provided by the cloud providers. There is one GCP generative AI certification is there. You could complete that generative AI certification after you complete this course. The certification cost will be separate. It's like a certification provided by the cloud provider. So you have to, that's a different cost. So sometimes it will be $100, $150 or $200. So that's a separate certification cost. But once you complete this course, you will be comfortably be able to complete that certification as well. If at all, if anybody of them of the group are preparing for that, then mid of the course, say like 1 month from now, We will try to identify who all will like to be preparing for the certification, and then I can, cover some of the materials and preparatory materials for them separately. If you ask me, is the certification important? It depends, but I am a person who is more project oriented. I would like to do a lot of projects under my belt. I should have at least 10 practical projects, very real-time projects by the end of this course, minimum. Right? If I'm interested, if I can spend more time, energy, I would like to do more projects. But that's the intent we need to have. So more projects will give us experience. It will give us confidence in attending interviews. You will know different scenarios, how they are used in real time, so that you will be able to crack any of the interviews you are attending. Either they are interviews or within the company, there is a new project which is coming up, and you will be able to raise your hand to, to go and do the project. So that's practically I'm seeing it. That's where that's where we are heading towards. So certification names, the one which I can talk about, which is very, very close, is Google's Generative AI Leader Certificate. GCP, you can search GCP Generative AI Leader, and that is the one we can readily attempt after this. All right, so let me quickly talk about so there's one more question, important one. Do we need to practice in our laptop, or is there a dedicated environment? Yes, I will be talking about an environment where you could run a cloud-based environment, which will help you to run all the exercises, even if your laptop is not up to the mark, right? But if you have like a 8 GB laptop or a 6 GB laptop or a 8 GB laptop, I'm sure most of our systems will be capable of doing 8 GB, because the phones itself are going to 12 GB, and I'm sure we should give decent enough memory for laptops. 8 GB is a decent enough laptop which can be used for most of our exercises. Some of our exercises require a lot of memory. For them, we will be using cloud-based things.
Sitaram, one question. So in our company, we don't have that scope, but we are very much interested. So is there any kind of freelancing project that we can do so that we can get practical experience on it?
Yeah, for that, we need to work with consultants. Generally in the past, what we've done is, if you are in US, you could work with consultants to identify freelancing gigs. And in the past, students are also done that. So they have that link. I don't have, but probably I can research and provide that link. But generally, who is on H1 payrolls, having link with consultants, they get these freelancing gigs. And once you completed this course, you could do that as well.
Yeah, thank you.
But from now, you have to start that research, right? So one other thing, you pointed a very nice point. One other thing because this is the first session, I'm not sure how many of, I am seeing like 35 people, 32 people. Not sure how many continue. But one thing we have to do a research, irrespective whether you do this course or not, is which area you are in. For example, you can be in Jacksonville, Florida, or you can be in, Charlotte, North Carolina, or Austin, Texas, or New York City. Whichever place you are in, you need to identify the job market. So that is a proper research we have to do. And it is dependent on experience level, the technology you have worked in the past, the requirements which are related to the technology, and all those things. So you need to identify like what are the companies, what are the job roles they are providing in AI. And I'll talk about those job roles in the next coming sessions. But what are the different job roles they're asking? What type of descriptions they have? What type of companies are offering these jobs? What experience level they are asking? So this exercise has to be done. And sooner the better if we do, then the more confident we will become by the end of the course. And this is a one-on-one exercise. It is not like a group exercise. I can say one answer will not fit everybody because there can be somebody who is just out of the college who is trying to identify entry-level roles. Somebody is already 5 to 10 year experience who already is working in Java or some other technology, and then now we want to do a pivot. Somebody who's like a very experienced, they are already 15 to 20 year experience, they've seen the world, and but now they have this requirement that they have to use AI within their projects. And how do I do that, right? So different people are there with different expectations. So it's not one single answer. So I will sincerely urge you guys that we have to do that research. You can be in any location. If you're okay to move locations, that's good enough because you will have that flexibility. You don't have to stick to one location. But if you are also sticking to one location, say that you are in Atlanta and then you want jobs in Atlanta, then you need to identify what are the companies, which companies are providing roles, what type of roles are there, what descriptions are they are asking, what tools are they are requiring, and then those things we would be covering in the course. Of course, I've already did research, generalized research, and whatever we are covering is more related to the job offerings. But if you do that exercise, then you will be much closer to the roles, is what I am asking. So if it is, yeah, so that should be good. So how about practice in MacBook? You could practice in MacBook. I can show some sessions on MacBook as well, and you will be able to do the same sessions. But whatever tool I will teach, that is compatible with all PCs and MacBook. It doesn't matter. One important question, I've been working at Java primarily. I wanted to know if I could still implement AI using Java. Yes, you could implement AI using Java. The only challenge is many of the libraries which are being implemented for doing a lot of the AI related work, those libraries are readily available in Python. If you want to implement something similar in Java, sometimes you have to write your own code applications, right? So the way enterprises are using AI is for the low level API related application, AI related work that is done in Python. And then the Python exposes AI APIs, and Java enterprise applications will utilize those APIs in a standard format. So just imagine that you need a small plugin to do certain things using AI. That small piece will be written in Python, but the entire application will still be in Java. We'll just expose that API and then use within our Java application. So you use the typical REST-based protocols for doing those invocations. All right. Any further questions? Thank you for asking questions because this is your class. So you are supposed to clarify a lot of doubts. If you still have any doubts, please put your questions in the chat. I can spend another 5 more minutes for the course. Working as a DevOps engineer, I would like to know whether I can use AI in monitoring. Absolutely, you can use. In fact, please attend the next session because I'll be talking about different job roles and how different background people can use AI. So please don't miss tomorrow's session. There I'll be covering it. All right. Are we going to cover MCP? Absolutely, yes. We're going to cover MCP. That will be covered in the agentic AI part.
So Sitaram, one question, like, do you know anyone who, creates LLM? I know these are LLMs are created by kind of finger and folks, right? So, is there any scope that we could, work or create some kind of LLMs on our own?
Creating of LLMs require large amount of data and compute. If we have that, we can create. But now the question is, do we need to create? Uh, then it depends. So we have some techniques like fine tuning and RAG-based optimizations, which will help us to update the current small language models we call. So small language models are easily fittable on our machines, trainable on our machines. So those small language models, we can do fine tuning and make it more relevant to our applications. Maybe I want to build an enterprise LLM, which is very suited for my company, and I don't want to expose data outside to any of the cloud-based LLMs. Then I can do that. We will teach that also in the course. So how do you build the customized, fine-tuned LLM? But building LLM from scratch requires a lot of data and a lot of compute capabilities, which generally retail public will not have.
So, does the healthcare or banking sectors as their own LLMs, or they try to leverage the existing LLMs?
They do a combination. So, for example, I work in a bank itself. So we have our own local LLMs, which are fine-tuned, which are like optimized for local applications, self-hosted on on-prem enterprise environments. And there are cloud-based LLMs. We use Google, then Anthropic based LLMs, which are having API invocations. So combinations will be used depending upon which type of data is used, whether it is PII or not, whether the application needs to be on-prem, the security requirements for the applications. Depending on all these answers, you have to identify whether it can be exposed outside or should be in on-prem. All right.
Thank you.
So another question is, I'm an ERP, Oracle, functional SME, and project manager. How can this course help me? As I was saying, I think 3 batches before, I think mid of 2025, when we did the course, I had 2 students who were this Oracle, having the Oracle background. I'm not sure they were doing Fusion, Oracle Fusion. There's something like OAF or something. So they once they have completed that our course, they are able to use identify how to use generative AI within their applications. They have their own related examples. So see, because I'm not expert in all the tools and technology, but I can um, give you the direction on how to use this within the spectrum. But believe me, every tool, every technology, they're trying to identify how they can incorporate AI. So there is a process methodology in identifying how do we put AI in an enterprise tool or technology or journey. So if I say journey, there is a customer journey, they will do A, B, C, D, and so on. So in every of those applications, we need to see how we can incorporate. So if there is any manual work involved, if there is a scope of automation, all those areas, we could use AI and automate that. So this course will help you to understand that. And with the subject matter expertise of your current Oracle or mainframe or DB related skill, you will be able to complement that and make it a better application. Right? So that's how you should target using it. Does this cover the AI engineer job roles? Yes. So when we learn about generative AI and agentic AI, those are the areas which will cover the AI engineer job roles. Okay. So this section is the one which covers the AI engineer job roles. All right, wonderful. Thank you very much. I can close the session here. We'll come back tomorrow, same time, 6 a.m., which will be your 8:30 p.m. EST. And then we will continue one interesting session. Don't miss that session because that's very important one to understand different job roles and how we can fit those job roles. So that's what we're going to cover in the tomorrow's session. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. We're going to cover LangChain, LangGraph. Yes, part of generative AI. We're going to cover that. All right. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.